Awesome. Thank you for joining us. It says in the slide notes to introduce myself, but you've all met me. I'm still Matt. Presumably, I'm still an observability strategist, unless something's happened while I've been off stage. But joining me today is James from ACM. Do you want to give us a quick introduction?
Hello, I'm James Flores, and I'm based in Albury-Wodonga, and I work for Australian Community Media as Enterprise System Engineer. So I like to think of myself as a jack of all trades and master of some. I started my career as an IT administrator for Macquarie Textiles, which is in the textile industry. And a year later, I thought, I need to get out of this industry because it's dying, and I moved into the newspaper industry. But I'm still here today, and I've been with ACM through all the different types of company moves and mergers and relocations, through Rural Press, Fairfax, Nine into ACM, and it's still here today. So apart from being an IT administrator, I moved into the more corporate world because they got combined, and somehow, as with everyone, their journey, we always end up in the cloud space. So I primarily work in AWS, with AWS and other cloud providers.
All roads lead to AWS.
That's right.
I feel you on the print media. I did a couple of years doing advertising sales back then, right around the point everything started to go online. So I imagine you've seen a few changes. Before we get into that, do you want to give a quick introduction for what Australian Community Media is, what you do, what's your raison d'etre?
Yes, so Australian Community Media is basically the regional voice of a community. So outside of all the capital cities, if you think about the regional newspapers, the larger ones like the Illawarra Mercury or Newcastle Herald, to the small ones like the Border Mail or the Leeton Irrigator, we are connecting communities with content, and we are moving our content delivery into a digital space.
It's got to be a lot more scalable than delivering physical papers to everyone.
That's right.
So I know firsthand things have changed a lot over the years. A community newspaper or any newspaper is not just a newspaper anymore. So do you want to run us through a few things you discovered when ACM decided to move to the cloud, the drivers behind it, which I imagine won't be too many surprises, and what it's like working with the hybrid environments, because I've been there and it wasn't pleasant.
Yes. As with being a regional voice, the regional company, there's a lot of newspapers around in the regional areas. So each of those sites had their own servers. They were all monoliths, very simple, one server doing everything. And at some stage we decided we need to kind of consolidate this, and we decided we would put them into 4 regional hub sites. So that's when I first got my hands into the virtualization space, so VMware, and I had a lot of fun doing the physical to virtual conversions. One of the big things about being a media company and any other company, I guess, is being available. But in newspapers and media, 24/7 is a big thing. We needed to print overnight. We need to be able to be on call for anything breaking that comes out. So there was really no easy downtime windows. Then, as you know, with everyone going through hardware refresh cycles every year, it's quite difficult. You need to plan, and being in an asset-heavy business with photo archives, page archives, our storage kept growing. It was hard to plan for that. So in 2015, we opened our very first AWS account. It seems like a very long time ago. And we just started using that as a mini data center, essentially, just migrating small loads across there. And now, fast forward to today, we're thinking cloud first. So the hybrid model still exists. We still have our on-premise stuff, but it's really consolidated now. So it's just cloud, on-prem, and the hub sites basically no longer exist. So flexibility was a big thing for us. We needed to be able to scale up or scale down as required.
I like the idea of VMware across 4 data centers. So basically your own private cloud and never short of something to keep you occupied. So you would have learned a few things along the way. I mean, moving to cloud, you need to understand the before and the after. You need to understand the brave new world, the costs and status of everything. How did you manage that? What did you learn along the way as you started to shift from your private data centers to public cloud?
One of the things we didn't account for was data transfer and bandwidth costs. When we want to transition our photo archives across to the cloud, it was years ago, but the speeds back then were terrible, and we didn't want to saturate our local site links because each hub site or each masthead had their own photo archive, and to migrate that data to the cloud would saturate their internet links. So it was easy for us to get a third party to send all these USB hard drives over to upload them into S3 for us. And I spent some of my weeks, months feeling like an accountant rather than in IT, because I would get tapped on the shoulder saying, we need to reduce these costs. Architecturally, if you ask me today, bring back the monolith, because serverless and microservices, scattered around everywhere, it was hard to manage. But again, that's how Datadog came into the picture. We have observability. We have a way to see where everything is, doesn't matter where it is. If we are onboarding a new server or application, it's just it's part of our process to have a Datadog agent in there.
I might get slapped for saying this, but I feel you on missing monoliths as well. The idea of an application and environment that can change architecture and topology multiple times a day as people push code and exercise infrastructure as code, terrifies me on the security perspective and be able to respond. So it is lucky we have observability now. Okay, so you're obviously tracking, well, I assume you were tracking operations before the move to cloud and hybrid. So do you want to just walk me through how operations were tracked, how you kept a big ribbon around the environment before and after and during the migrations?
Well, it's a bit embarrassing to say this, but back when we were always in the office, our tracking system was a little head popping up from a desk and saying something wasn't working. So it was a scream test. So I kind of wonder if we actually do need Datadog, if we just have someone popping our heads up. But everyone's remote, everyone's in a different hybrid working environment. So that was our tracking system eventually. And then when we got bought out by different companies, we kind of had an opportunity to use something like Nagios, it seems quite prehistoric now, but it was great because all we needed was something very basic to monitor CPU usage, disk space, memory, if a process was up. But during a company shift, we had to leave that one behind, and we were in a transition phase where we didn't have anything. So we had some of our staff members creating their DIY tools, DIY service dashboard, application monitoring another application. And we wouldn't have any visibility over that unless it was for that staff member, for that team. So that's when I started looking into a tool that we didn't have to monitor ourselves. We just wanted to offload it. That's why I'm using Datadog today.
Awesome. And I can only imagine it gets awkward when you have to troubleshoot the troubleshooting tool. I've actually been there. So you made the journey to Datadog and AWS and still a bit of private cloud. What was the process around deciding on Datadog for your centralized observability? How did you land in our community?
We wanted something as simple as a Nagios, but we didn't want to have to configure it. As I said, we're quite a prehistoric company, very legacy systems. We don't, unfortunately, have any more Windows 2003 servers. Basically, I wanted a way for everyone to use this tool and not write their own dashboards. And Datadog offered that right out of the box. As long as we have this agent installed, people, even managers could actually log in there and create dashboards custom to what they needed to see. And to onboard a user to use it, you didn't have to go through you didn't have to use someone's DIY tool, edit a JSON file or XML file to add email addresses or alerts. It's all in the Datadog UI. and I just started talking about Slack, but Slack is our dumping ground for everything, and I'm sure some of you will agree for that. And I actually don't use Datadog UI very often because all our alerts go into Slack. And I'm a very simple person, so all the alerts go into a Datadog alerts channel. If something goes wrong, I tag the appropriate person, and hopefully they fix it, and then we get a resolved message.
In a perfect day, things don't go wrong, and you're able to just have an environment that works, and you shouldn't need to open anything.
It's also a double-edged sword.
Yeah, exactly. And with that in mind, do you want to talk about the role of Datadog in helping de-silo, expose tribal knowledge, put a neat ribbon around your environment to help understand that, and definitely want to hear about that double-edged sword.
Double-edged sword, okay. So basically, if everything's working and there's no screams, then people don't think you're doing anything. So you need to create problems sometimes.
Just sleeping in the morning.
Yes, right. So Datadog has given us a single point of visibility. From having nothing to something is great, but having visibility over our on-prem stuff and cloud stuff, and it doesn't matter where it is. So we've had that single point of visibility. And as I said, we didn't want a monitoring tool which we had to babysit as well. We just install this agent, give it the API key, and there you go. I touched on it already, but we only use it for core monitoring. I don't even know all of the features that Datadog offers. Like, with all the speakers today, I'm just blown away. But like, I'm a very simple person. We just need to monitor disk usage. If an image archive is going to be full in a couple of days, we need to know, and that's something that Datadog has given us the chance to do because it's got the AI and the anomaly detection features. We don't have to rely on the scream test anymore, which is a double-edged sword. I've talked about that. And having that infrastructure view in Datadog, which means that we don't have to keep manual spreadsheets of people saying this is where all our assets are. It's self-documenting. So next on our agenda at ACM is to look more into logging tools. We still have a lot of legacy applications that are writing to their own log files. We want to put that all into one place so we know where all the touch points of our particular files are going through the great, incredible machine.
Yeah, I think we're going to have logs for a little while to come. It's a necessary evil, but there's a lot to get out of them. So, nearing the end of our morning session and rapidly approaching lunch, do you want to take us through the biggest impact you've noticed since installing Datadog?
Going back to it again, the double-edged sword, there's fewer service desk tickets. I guess some managers will look at the number of resolved cases that we do, and that would be a bonus. But I say the best RT department is one that doesn't do anything because it's all set up and it's all self-healing, self-documenting. Knowing where all our systems are in one place, again, I touched on that. We don't have to keep manual spreadsheets. Sure, some people can still do that. We're not stopping them from doing that. But here we know, as part of our process to onboard a new system or application, you must have the Datadog agent installed. And because of this, when something goes wrong, we know where to look, and that's the Slack channel for the Datadog alerts.
So virtual scream.
Virtual scream, yes.
Awesome. Thank you, James. It's been absolutely amazing having you take part and share your experience this morning. I really love the way you talked about moving from that reactive scream test, someone standing up in the back of the room from behind the cubicle and going, "It's broken!" to that sort of proactive, centralized observability we're all aspiring to. Also love the theme around simplicity and visibility, taming and defeating that complex environment, especially that one that changes in real time, like trying to catch eels in a bucket and try getting that image out of your head quickly. And also moving to observability as that enabler, a way of de-siloing tribal knowledge, having self-documenting environments, and just being able to provide smoother operations between the teams. So guys, please give James a massive round of applause for coming and doing this for us today. It's been amazing having you here.